Welcome back. Episode 17.
What's up, shitbags? Welcome back. Like Brennan said, episode 17. Crazy. This is even closer to our 1 year mark. So this one will be coming out, believe the first one in May. So that'll be just past our 1 year mark, which would be crazy. So I'd still get out. It's always going to be crazy. Every time we come on here, we're going to say the exact same thing. So I'm going to try and stop doing it. I'm sure it's probably annoying at this point. But as always, we got to thank all of our sponsors that got us to a year. So Taylor Stins, Jobtown, Crew First. Taylor's going to be recording. Taylor's our next recording, so he's at end of May. Really excited to get him on here and talk with him and give him a chance to come on the podcast. And it's just been great. It's been such a cool thing. We got new cards that are out, so those are gonna be out on the shop, courtesy of Taylor Stins. So we got our little slogan, ship bag with Uncle Sam. We got those, so you can snag one of those. We'll be adding more things as we come up with them, but we're not those creative people, so we sometimes
It takes a while for our creativity to come past our heads.
So yeah, I mean, without further ado, I got nothing else new. Just keep not being shitbags and doing some training, and we'll bring in our guests. So we've been really excited for this one since we got to hear him talk back into the job. And without further ado, here's Jeffrey Eckert.
How you doing, guys?
Hey. Welcome. How's it going?
Great. Thanks for having me. Everything's going good.
Thanks for coming on.
Anytime, man. I'm happy to be here.
So why don't you give a little introduction about yourself, a little bio, whatever you want to share.
Okay. I got about 26 years in the fire service. I started out as a federal fireman, so I was a federal fireman for 8 years. I was born and raised in Philly, though. My whole goal was to get on to the Philadelphia Fire Department. I got on in 2006, so that's put me already 18 years here in Philly. I was on the ladder my first about 7 years. Then I got in the SOC, and I've been assigned to Squad 72 for over 11 years now, which is one of the 3 SOC companies here in Philadelphia. We have 2 squads, one in North Philly, which is mine, one in South Philadelphia, where my cousin's actually assigned there, and then we have Rescue 1, which is centralized.
Nice.
And then we're actually coming up on our year anniversary. Guy I work with, my real good friend and business partner, Gabe Salas. We started Philly Tin Helmet Training, and going strong with that.
Awesome. Awesome. Sweet. Yeah, we got a nice year anniversaries coming up. So yeah, ours is we got April 20th or something was our first episode. So congrats.
Awesome, same to you guys. Congratulations.
You start something new the first year. That's the hardest part, is getting through that first year. So
and then I'm sure you get a ton of shit for it too, just like we did.
Yeah.
I like getting shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's fun. We got our shifts real supportive. We have a lot of fun there, and our chief likes to have fun, and he loves our slogan. We talk about that a lot. He loves the and by love I mean he hates. He said, why can't we have some without a swear word in it? But he's got his sticker. I'll give him that. We gave him a sticker. He's got that put up in his office. So
nice.
At least got that. So yeah, we'll let you keep talking about yourself a little bit more. Our first question we have is just how'd you end up in the fire service?
Like I said, so when I was a teenager, probably about like 14, 15, there was a big fire in my neighborhood. Actually it was like an arson job. Apparently some kids set a big warehouse down the street on fire. And it was, 5-6 alarms, crazy. Tons of fire, and the whole neighborhood's down there watching it. And actually a bunch of firemen actually got hurt. A wall collapsed on them and everything. And just watching that, I was like, man, I got to be a part of this. And just from there, I only wanted to be a fireman. I actually took the test right out of high school in 1998. I graduated in 97, took the test in 1998, and 27,000 people took that test.
Oh, shit.
So I don't have a shot in hell, without military points, and I always wanted to go into the service, so I joined the Air Force. So it's kind of like the military. I was a firefighter in there for a little over 4 years. Missed the fire department test in Philadelphia because they test once every 4 years at that time. So I became a federal fireman and just waited for the next test, which I took in 2005 and was in like the top 50 that time, and was in the very first class, which was class 181 in 2006. So, but yeah, being a fireman is all I ever wanted to do. I never wanted to do anything else at all.
Yeah, I was kind of in the same boat. I don't know what sprung my interest, but since a young age, I was just That's what I'm set on, and I carried through. So
That's it, man. I mean, and a lot of the guys are like that. Most of the people, at least that I'm really, surrounded by, wanted to be firemen at a very young age. Just because it's, it's like a calling, for the guys that really want to do it and that want to be good at it. You're just all about it. You kind of have to be, so you can do it well.
right, sure.
Yeah. We've talked about it on so many episodes. It's kind of cool. That was the whole idea behind this podcast was brand experienced people. So we're hitting about the 20s, the 30s. That's what a lot of the people that are coming on have years of service. And that time frame compared to this time frame when Brennan and I got in there, like the 27,000 people testing, it's just crazy. The standards and the lack of openings that were back then compared to now, where we can't find people that want to do this job.
We test every 2 years now in Philly, and I mean they're just firing classes out. And myself and like the guys at my station and in SOC in general, for the most part, majority of the guys are like older. I'm going to be 45 years old. We're like the old men now, and like I don't feel old. I probably look a little older, but it's hard to believe because they said something like 70 to 80% of Philadelphia Fire Department now has like under 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. And, guys are just retiring, and we have the drop program here. I mean, one day I think we lost something crazy, like 300 guys, like 1,000 years of experience in one day. And these are guys that were on during like, the Warriors, these guys going to 5 jobs a night and stuff like that. Like that's gone now. You'll never be able to replicate that type of experience.
Yeah. It's crazy. So that's what spawned this, and what we got here is to try and to bring that experience in, because everybody's new. Every department across the country, you get experience that is new. So it's cool, and kind of it's I don't know, confirming the more that we hear when we have people on that, like, this is something like this is needed, or just people going to trainings and continuing to learn, like it's needed, because we don't know shit anymore. We're all young. We're all brand new that don't have the experience under our belt that you used to have when you came on.
Absolutely. And I mean, you see it in a lot of departments, but Philly's real big with that. Like, they're just guys that are too cool to train, like, well, you go to fire, so I don't need, you're a whacker, you do this corny shit. And then other guys are super into it, and some guys understand it. The big thing that, it seems a lot of guys have a problem with is that, like Philadelphia, like they will bring us up for training, retraining, back to basics, stuff like that. But it's far in between. So when we train, you got to go out on your own. You're out on the street doing things on your own. But to get some really advanced stuff, it's hard, like we can't just go on the street and like find a bus to lift or find a tractor trailer lift. So, I got like when I want to go do classes that I have to pay for that on my own. And guys are like, what are you paying for that shit for on your own? And And it's, well, I want to learn it and you're not providing me with it. So what the hell am I supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll keep talking about kind of that initial time frame with our next one. So when you got on, what did you do as a new member to earn the respect of your crew?
Everything. So when I got on, I actually went to a very slow ladder, which was in Center City. There was a snorkel. I went in with the attitude, just thinking, hey, I'm a new guy. I have to do everything. I have to do all the dishes. I have to sit all the watches. And we still sit watch here in Philly, so someone always has to be up. So
really?
Oh yeah. Like someone's there with a little logbook, and you're there all night long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's funny too, because one of the biggest questions Gabe and myself get when we go out is, they like the old school stuff, and Gabe always asks, like, do you guys sit watch? And a lot of people don't know what that is. And people try to say, like, oh, that's awesome. That sounds really cool. And it's like, I get it. I get why it sounds cool, because it's old school. It sucks. You know what I mean? You come back from a job, it's friggin' 2 degrees out. You got to clean all the tools. You got to friggin' go shovel snow if it snowed. You finally get like dry clothes on, some dry underwear. And it's like, yo, dude, you got watched from like 3 till we get relieved at 7 a.m. And you're like, shit. What I mean? Yeah, it gets old. Like I said, I'm still a fireman. I'm not officers don't sit watch, just the firemen do. So I still sit watch.
Yeah.
And it's not the end of the world, but it's not super exciting like people think. And, when someone knocks at the door at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and, it's not like some hot chick trying to hook up with you. It's like a crackhead that's trying to use your bathroom. You know what I mean? And you're like, you don't even want to answer the door. Like, oh God, like, so, it's not as glorious as it sounds.
Yeah. Our crews used to, for like EMS up until probably 10 years ago, there is if there was any call came out, so a lift assist or whatever, everybody had to get up and everybody had to stay up until they got back. That was the closest
there you
I think
go.
to maintaining a watch that our department has done. But yeah, we still got the watch test, but we haven't set watch or anything. The cool thing is the light switch that's by the watch desk has the dial on it. You can turn on all the random lights in the station.
Yep.
So they used to, be able to. So you can fuck with some guy who's up in the bunker when you're just downstairs, like start flickering. Especially a new guy that has no idea what that is. Oh my god!
If I did that at my station, they'd throw me down the steps. Like if I thought it'd be funny to turn the fire lights on at 4 o'clock in the morning, the guys would literally.
We haven't done it that yet. We're talking like noon nap, but yeah, we also don't have fire lights or overhead paging. It's just literally the lights. You just turn on the white lights and is all.
Yep.
It's an old
the same thing. Yep. Yeah. We got our station was built, I believe, in 1934.
Damn.
So it's a 2-story station. So everyone's upstairs. The watch desk is on the first floor.
Yeah.
So when you're down there by yourself, man. So it's like you got to hike them out. We still have to hike out our own guys. Like we have a CAD system, comes over to CAD system, but if it's middle of the night and everyone's in bed, I got to hike them out. So if I'm not paying attention or the CAD system doesn't, and it always goes down here, always. If I miss it over the radio, then we miss the job, and I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, though, old school.
And everyone says that, like, oh, that sounds pretty cool, but give it a year, and you're like,
this one sucks.
I mean, you get caught up. You can watch Game of Thrones like 700 times and stuff like that. But other than that, but back to your question, being a new guy, so I would just do everything, and I wasn't alone. Thank God, I had a couple other guys come in brand new, and to this day, because of the bonds we made there, just. We're all at different stations and we're still super, super close. I just talked to the guy yesterday, as a matter of fact, that I was with there. And then he would just sit there listening to everyone else go to fires. Like we rarely went to fires. And because rich downtown, multi-million-dollar homes. Driving sucked, and it was a snorkel at that, so you can't fit down a ton of the streets. But just training and trying to do the right thing. And there was a chief there who saw all that. So now we have a transfer policy in Philadelphia where everything's fair, but 18 years ago, it was kind of who you know and who you blow kind of thing, and he was like, all right, I'm going to start. He started detailing us out the busier spots. So, hey, today, and, he would detail me to like ladder 13 in West Philadelphia or Southwest Philadelphia, excuse me, but it's right there on the border. And every time I was out there, I was like, I would get a job, and then when the spot opened up, I was able to go to ladder 4, which was in Southwest right next. And it was great. Again, every time I was detailed out there, we got a job at ladder 4. And I was like, cool, the perfect spot for me. It wasn't the busiest, but it was busy. And a lot of people didn't want to go there because it was super far. Like it was a far drive.
Yeah. So
I didn't have a ton of drag that somebody, their dad's a chief, their grandfather was on the job, their dad's still on the job kind of thing. I was first generation. So that was a perfect spot for me. And then a whole bunch of guys started doing the same thing. And then now, I mean, that station's great. Everyone, a lot of guys really want to go there now, you know what I mean? And it's worth the drive. So then getting there, and then now it's like, all right, time to go to work, time to really learn how to be a fireman, because now you're going to fires. And that was the whole thing. And it was tough too, because everyone was fairly new there. So we were kind of learning as we went, not really knowing what we're doing and knowing to really show you, there's only one officer. So if I'm on the roof cutting a hole, like he's not there. And there was times I cut like a giant hole and they're like, yo, dude, it was like a, pile of clothes in the back bedroom. Like we didn't need a hole. And I'm like, sorry, dude, but then we got like this real old school guy called Kelvin. His name was Kelvin Fong. He retired with like 45 years on. He just retired.
Holy shit.
And I mean, he's been at the busiest spots and just a no nonsense guy. And he really started reeling us in and like, hey man, like you got to get your shit together and I'm going to show you how to do that. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
It's like our shift really doesn't have that senior. We do have senior guys, but it's kind of like you. We kind of have to figure out our own shit on a fire ground. I mean, everyone has a job. We're a smaller department. So on a fire scene, we got 8 guys for the first 10, 15 minutes. So you really got to figure out your own. So that's why we like going to these different classes so you can keep up on your stuff like that. Because we have to know every job on the fire ground.
Yep. No, I understand. And like the thing was like, when Lieutenant Fong got there, he was like, he was like, you guys are good. He's like, you're making mistakes. He's like, but you're making mistakes trying to do the right thing. And he's like, and I can work with that. He's like, it's not like we were hiding and just not going in and stupid shit like that. So he was like, you're making mistakes by being aggressive. So, let's go from there. Yeah. Like, I cut a hole in the first floor for a basement fire. And he's like, yeah, you didn't need to do that, man. I'm like, shit. I cut like a lot of holes that didn't need to be cut. I'm like, all right, well, how do I know? How do I know when I need to cut a hole? Tell me, And he was like, yeah, and he would explain it, And the thing with him, like, you never got told you did a good job ever. Never said. I mean, he was just old school, but you definitely got told when you messed up.
Oh yeah.
And,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Next one we got, talking, when he came in or just when you were down there or in your experience now, what do you think brings the crew together the best?
Jobs. There's nothing like the firehouse after a job. Like you'll sit there and if it's going slow for a while, you're together all the time. How we work here in Philadelphia, we do unofficially 2 10-hour days, 2 14-hour nights, and then with overtimes or MXTs, you could easily be at the station for 24 hours straight, stuff like that. And you're just with the guys all the time. And the station's only so big. We don't have a private bunk room. It's one big open room with bunks, always in the kitchen together or always on the truck together. So you're in each other's face all the time. And then it's like, you're just be looking at this guy, that I've worked with for 11 years. Like, I hate his fucking face today. You know what I mean? Just because it's like living with your brothers. You're just getting annoyed. Like, yo, man, wash your cup. We just did the dishes. Wash your goddamn cup. And, stupid little petty shit because you're on top of each other. But after fire, I mean, dude, you're you're back at the station running around like little kids. Everyone's amped up. You're going out for beers. That in my opinion brings everyone together the most. And then, same thing. You have a good job with the other companies. And you guys work well together. So now it's like, oh, man, you give them a call. Like, oh, we're all going out today for a couple of beers. We'll meet you there. And things just start rolling from there. And you start building good relationships and stuff like that.
So. Yeah, it's definitely one of the things that sucks being, more rural or in small town. Our shift, we've talked about a lot. Our shift, we really like. I think we do a really good job of filling that gap with at least training. So, when we're in, you go to work, you get a job damn near every shift. If you go a couple shifts, correct me if I'm wrong, you're like, damn, we're in a dry spout. Like we can go months at a time and not actually have a real. Listen,
dude, like Philly is just like everyone else. Like, guys always say, oh, I'm in a rural spot. Like, don't go knocking rural spots, dude. Like there's one thing I like about, doing the training is that I've really got to meet a lot of people from other departments and like, wow, these guys really get work, and then some places are like, there's places in Philadelphia that will go to like 3 jobs a year because it's in like a rich, affluent area that they don't do shit. Yeah. But they'll strut around like they're the shit, you know what I mean? Because they got the big city name and all that stuff. And then there's like, you got a town right outside of Philadelphia. You have Upper Darby, you have Darby. Like those guys get work, and they have to go through the Philadelphia Fire Academy. But yet they'll go to Upper Darby. And once in a while, you'll get a guy like, oh, I want to be a Philly fireman. And it's like, why? Like you guys get good work. You get paid more than this. Your retirement's way better. Your pension's way better. They just want the name of being like, I guess, like a bigger city fireman. But I'm like, fuck that, dude. Be who you are and own it. And you're still going to fires. You're getting tons of experience. So don't just look at like a name, and that's every big city. I don't care what they say. You go to friggin' Cleveland, you go to Baltimore, you go to New York, whatever. There's stations there that hardly do anything. And then there's stations that get work, So we're not going to a fire every shift anymore, man. Those days, even in the stock companies, man, those days are done. I mean, we'll do good. We'll get more fire than, a lot of people. But that's because we're going to SOC too. So you're kind of like a vulture on someone else's fire. Yeah. Or some guys are like, oh, we don't need these guys here. Like I just threw this ladder and like, here comes Jeff coming up to the roof with a saw to cut a hole. And then the guy's like, this is my friggin' roof. Like, I'm like, I got you, dude. So
no, that's something we really appreciate and really liked with our training tower. We just got that, within the last year. And man, we got sponge pots now. We are trying to get out there as frequent as we can, or at least, killing time and doing that. Cause it's I wouldn't trade it. I love where we work. It's a great time. We love that, we then get to come and learn from, you guys and all the people we've had on the podcast and all these trainings, like you got to still put in work. Like you said, it doesn't matter where you go. If you can, you can stand at Blatz, our buddy Blatz, he would talk about Milwaukee. Like, you got a big enough department, you can have guys there just hiding in the wood and the woodwork. They just,
dude, bigger the department, the bigger the problems. Because there's so many people. You're protected by unions. Like the union's a great thing. I'm not knocking that at all. But like, you get guys that are like really screwing up. They're having some serious problems or whatever. The union has to defend them. Mm-hmm. And it's almost in a big city, it's almost impossible to get rid of a shitbag just because as long as they show up for work, they're like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Like I said it before, in my opinion, the worst thing that happened to the fire department is human resources. Yeah. Because that's all. They're like, well, did they show up for work? It was, yeah, but they don't get off the truck on a friggin' fire. Well, they're not going nowhere. Yeah. And that's it. That's what you got. So you could be at the busiest spot in any city, but if the guys are all pieces of shit, you're going to hate it. It don't matter how many fires you go to. Yeah. You're going to be miserable going to work because you're still going to spend majority of your time at the firehouse looking at these mutts. You know what I mean? So
that's awesome. Next one we got, this became one of our favorites, and there's no explanation to it. You take it however you want it. Okay. And it's just, why are we here?
As far as on the podcast or existence,
no explanation. Wherever you take it, that's what became our favorite.
I'm only going to go into this like talking to you two guys. I think we're here just because for love of the fire department. We still, I still believe in it. It's obvious you guys still believe in it. You got a lot of people saying like, the brotherhood's dead and this and that. And, because you see some shitbags coming in. And in my opinion, though, they're not winning. I did an academy class. I went up there and helped teach the tools section. And it wasn't for me. I'm not big with the academy, but there was just such a great group of guys and girls up there. But there were a couple shitbags that got through, and that really bugged me. And like I said, I'm just a fireman. I'm not an officer. I have no say in the fiscal numbers and, again, stuff with human resources. So I'm like, why am I letting this stress me out so much? Just focus on the people that want to be here and go there. But I can't. But we're still getting more good people than bad. I think we just dwell on the bad so much because, at some spots, you know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing else to do. You're stuck with this person all night long and you just look at them, like I said, and if you're not going to fires, you're just going to hate them more, and they're not doing the little stuff around a firehouse. That goes a long way. They're not helping clean. They're not washing the truck. They're not learning their local, everything's an issue. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're just a constant problem. So they come in, they don't come like it's tradition in Philadelphia. You show up for work an hour early. They don't do that. They come like, they call them Minutemen. They get there right before the shift, officially shift change. And some poor guy's stuck waiting to get to like his kids, baseball game, that kind of thing. But I think, we're here just mutual love and respect for the fire department.
Awesome. Yeah, that's why it became one of our favorites. Is it gets taken any which way. And
I was going to say, I don't want to go into, God created the earth or anything like that. Like,
yeah, no, it's awesome. That concludes our kind of general questions. We got the same ones that we ask. We switch them up every year. And then we get a little more personal. So the first one we have, especially with you doing your own training company, what are some frequent trainings that you do with your crew that you try and bring back, or that maybe your officer likes to do, whatever?
So the way like special operations operates, we do everything as a group. No one's taking what I say. I'm not going to come back and say, hey, this is the class we're going to do. They're going to kiss my ass. We're going to train what the company needs. You know what I mean? So now if I went and did a class of my own, like my partner Gabe and I, we went to my business partner went to
gotta clarify nowadays. Gotta clarify.
Nothing wrong with that. Just let people know. We went to a heavy lifting class. Truck bus rescue through. Oh Jesus Christ! I'm having a brain fart, but anyway, I'll get to that. They were really great, and we brought some of that back. Like, hey man, they showed us this. Like, check this out. Look what we can do with the airbags. Because you have to operate as a team still. On the how our squad runs, we have an officer of 4. So if only me and one guy know this cool new way of doing something no one else does, they're going to think it's wrong, or they're not going to be on the same page, and the job's going to go to shit. So that's when we'll bring stuff back. Like, hey, dude, check this out, and then we'll bring up like a YouTube video of like the class or something like that. We'll watch that together. As far as like our regular, like weekly training, it's like, hey man, we ain't touched, the Paratech struts in a little bit. Let's pull them out. Let's set them up. Let's build, a raker shore. Let's build a flying raker. Hey, we ain't pulled the ropes out. Let's get the ropes out the next week, and build like this and that. So we have every discipline, like in the sock companies in Philadelphia. Yeah. So there's constantly stuff to work on. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, we run enough. Like the one thing we don't really do is like people are like, oh, how often do you guys pull hose and train on hoses? Like, we don't. We really don't, because everyone there, like, has enough hose line experience. Not that you can ever train too much, but there's just so much other shit going on, And one guy gave me like a slew of shit for that one time. And I'm like, bud, we had 3 jobs last tour. We pulled line on each of them. So we're kind of getting our practice in as we're doing it. Yeah. I wasn't trying to be like a jerk or like big time, but I'm like, we have so much other stuff. There's a million tools that you got to run up on your first day work, and we have an A truck full of stuff. We have a boat. We got to check the boat, and the weather's getting nice. We got to make sure the motor's running, So, but as far, we're bringing stuff back. If I get a good class, and I'll bring it up to the fellows, and if they want to try it, great. But I am not delegating anything. If that makes sense to you guys,
Yeah. No, that's why I really enjoy going. Like me and Bryce, we started to travel a lot to go to these different classes. That's why I enjoy going to these different classes to bring them back. Our captain is really open to, like, he wants us to come back with something he wants to come back with. So you're like, hey, we learned this, let's try it. That day we're going out there and trying it. That's why I really love, trying something new and getting hands on. And like you said, we're both on special teams. So our lieutenant is lieutenant of the special team tech rescue stuff. So we get out in the bay and
a lot, right? People don't realize how much goes into being like a tech rescue guy. Yeah. Because, for one, like when they call you, there's no one else like that. If I can't figure it out with my crew, and like, if it's really bad, it'll be on the north side. It'll be like us can rescue 1. And if it's on the south side, it'll be squad 47 rescue 1. And if it's very, very bad, which in my time in SOC has only happened like 2 or 3 times where it's all 3 of us, you got to know what you're doing, because there's no one else to call. You can't be like, oh, I forget how to make this rope system. Let's call the other guys. There are no other guys. So you got to know what you're doing. And it's hard. It is really hard to get some of the training here, because like we'll go fire duty only, but you're still making runs, and like they're not all fires, obviously, it'll be like an alarm system or a car accident. It's like we're trying to rappel off the roof of the station, and you get like 5 bullshit runs in the middle of training. That's where it gets to be a real pain in the butt. So.
Yeah. It's, we talked about a lot. It's, with us being where we are in our department, we don't have assignments. So we get assignment each morning when we come into shift, but we all rotate. I mean, our senior guy, he's typically the pump operator. But for the most part, everybody else we rotate through. So you'll be on the truck, you'll be on the engine crew. If we get a car accident or whatever, they swap over to the squad. Yep. And we're also on the ambulance. Brad and I are both on tech and dive. Like there's
you guys do dive, huh?
Yeah, we do. We
can have that. Our cops do dive. I do not, like looking for a body in the river. No thanks. Yeah. Especially when it's been under there for like 6 months.
Yeah, we got a nice big lake, so that's where we got our dive team for. We're right on Beaver Dam Lake, so
that's awesome.
It's a good time, but yeah, we got a lot of stuff on our plate. So yeah, Tech Rescue Tuesdays we try and do.
Okay.
We have at least monthly trainings with the actual entire team.
Yep.
But yeah, like our new chief when he came, he's been here for 3 years. But when he came in, that was a big thing. Is like everybody was coming to the trainings. Like if you were on duty, your crew is coming, even if you weren't on the team, you were there so you could learn how the team operates and what you can do to assist. So,
nice.
Everybody's got a base level understanding of each team and everything that we do. So it's a lot. You're right. It really is.
As I said, we're going to Virginia later this month for our FEMA team. I'm going for an exercise there as a rescue tech, and God knows what that's going to be, because that facility is insane. And, but it all transfers over to the sock company too, in case something like that happens here, then we're ready to go.
Absolutely. So, awesome. Next, kind of still talking about training, probably more toward your training company where you're doing it. How do you make your trainings as realistic as they can be? You know, with all the stipulations. We just had our live fire. We did a live fire training a couple days ago, and you know, you can't get things too hot. You can't have furniture inside. Can't have live victims. Like, you know, all that stuff. How do you? What's your best way to make it still worthwhile?
So using everything from experience. One of the sayings, you know, I do our posting on Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I hate doing that. I'm not a social media guy. I never took pictures of jobs and stuff like that and stuff we've been on and said, hey, look what I did today, you know, till we had the company, because I feel like it makes us relevant. You know, one of the things I say is, you know, train for reality, train with people who work in reality.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys that just don't go to fires at all and they own training companies. And, you know, I've had some conflicting conversations with them, nothing mean or nothing like that. And I'm like, I don't really think that's going to work, man. Like, you know, I've made a good amount of fires and I don't think that tactic's going to work, and they don't want to hear it, and that's fine. So, as far as replicating like heat, when you can't really have live burns and this and that, we induce as much stress as possible. So our RIC class, for example, it's getting known like as a pretty difficult class. That's like the number one class people want from us. And we first day's all learning little techniques and stuff like that, but it's the simplest techniques you can do. Because, you know, if you think about, like, you're not putting, you know, circle the wagon, hasty harness on a civilian when the house is on fire. They're buck naked.
We're not.
But people swear. People are like, yeah, you can.
Oh,
you gotta train. You gotta train.
I don't like classes like that.
So
local classes.
We call it down and dirty RIC because it's down and dirty drags. You know, we'll use an Anderson strap, you know, and girth hitch that, or you're using a piece of webbing and girth hitching that at the most. That's about as technical as you're going to get. Till we get to like guys out windows and stuff like that. But then those are very unique situations.
Yeah.
And even with that, you know, converting a pack to a harness, you know, that's like the only time we show that because you're just going to grab and go, tighten your straps down and go. I've never pulled anyone out of a pack, you know, on a training and stuff. When I didn't convert it, you know, but if you're putting them out a window, you have to, and that's when we'll put an actual harness on a live victim just for safety.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But we, you know, we'll smoke the place up, or we'll put, you know, BA shields on them, and we just hammer them with stress. A lot of noise, a lot of bang, wrapping them in wires, stuff like that. And we try to explain to them, like, dude, the harder we make it, take that as a compliment. Because if we're making it so hard and we're screaming at you, we're knocking you down and we're laying on you, we want you to find to see how far we can push you without you freaking out and quit. Right. And like we were just in Arkansas, a guy lost it, and it wasn't even bad yet. Lost it, jumped up and smashed the window and jumped out the window. It's like, I got to get out of here. And it wasn't even bad. There was no heat. Oh yeah. So, but then we'll dial it back down. If that guy had that much, okay, we'll dial it way back down. And this way he can learn and then start getting better again. There's no point. You can make anything so hard and make anyone fail.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
That's not the goal. We want everyone to succeed. So, okay, that evolution was a little tough. Let's dial it back down. Let's try again. You know, but what we try and tell the guy, like, listen, man, like, there's no heat. It was just feeder smoke. And all we were doing at this point, we were just playing music really loud and like yelling at him just to hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Like, you do that to guys over and over again, they start losing their shit, certain guys. And, you know, like, guys, listen, man, you have a real RIC. Your guy's down there, like, he's dying. His face piece is, you know, he's suffocating. You can't really replicate that stress. So we got to do it as close as we can. And if you're just freaking out because there's some music playing, you got to really evaluate what level you're at as far as, you know, firefighting.
Yeah.
So, you know, you get back in the station with your guys, stop training on an apparatus floor that's wide open and doing these drags, you know, stop doing CrossFit in your gear, thinking that's going to help you. Like, it will. And physical fitness is a big part.
Yeah.
But you got to start training for reality, as opposed to, like, you're never going to do 1,000 burpees in your bunker gear. You know what I mean? What you could do is have to drag your guy up a flight of steps, you know, that's this wide in a hoarding house. That's ridiculously exhausting. And you're never going to just pick the guy up with your shoulder like they show in the movies, right? You're dragging them, and maybe another guy. And like one of the hardest evolutions we have is getting the guy up the steps with people. They quit just from that. Because, some of these guys are big boys. They're 250, in their underwear. Now you put the gear on them and stuff, and now they're a limp noodle. It gets pretty tough. So that's what we try to do to replicate it, because it's that hard, and everyone we bring to our RIT class, I'm the only one who hasn't actually been actively part of a RIT. All the other instructors we bring have. And the one guy, Mike Murphy, he normally comes with us. He's been part of 2, and both firefighters died, unfortunately, but they were the ones that got the down firefighter out, and just talks about just chaotic it is, how bad it is, and just it's never, easy. Like people make it sound, like, oh, you just got to do this. And as long as you're physically fit, you're going to do it. It's more than physical fitness. You got to have that mental toughness. Because he's messed up. So you're trying to hurry, right? And that's where guys, it's like, I forgot a glove because you're so tunnel vision going in. Like, think about it. Like one of you guys go down, the other one's coming to get you. You're not thinking about your own safety. You're running in, and then you got to make sure you don't fall through the same floor that he fell through. And, make sure you have your PPE in. Guys forget to put their hoods up because they're rushing so much, right? So you got to replicate that type of environment when you're training.
Absolutely.
And when we have a smaller class, what I like to do, and it works out pretty good, like first day is all the hands-on, just learning shit. We tell them, hey guys, day 2, the second you come here, be ready to go. Literally the second you step on this fire ground. And as soon as they get there, we put a written service. The second they get there, because they're lollygagging up with their shit, just like you see a lot of guys doing a real RIT, right? Like the RIT team doesn't want to be there. It sucks. They got to watch everyone fight fire. And we're like, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. And right away, they loot, like their eyes are this wide. And we amp it up to about like 50% of where we could get it on that very first evolution, just to show them how really unprepared they were. And they're just like, holy shit, man, that was, man, they're fighting, they're arguing with each other. And, the next thing you know, we've had guys, they sent in 15 firefighters. The chief, go in. And next thing you know, there's 15 guys lost and we kill them all. They're like, yo, guys, these are all dead. These are all completely lost. These all ran out of air. Like, what do you, and just from that training environment. And then we always stress that no one was going to get hurt. There was no chance of anyone dying. And look at the mistakes that were made. So hopefully that answered your question. It was kind of long.
It did. Absolutely. I love it. That we talked about it before when we got to listen to you talk down in Wichita. You were, we were really impressed with the story. We talked to a lot of people about it, and I think we shared on here. Like normally you hear, kind of rightfully so, when you go to a presentation, you hear it's all, hey, this is who I am. This is what I've done. This is all the great stuff. It was a very refreshing change to have you come up there and talk about your mistakes and what you learned from them. So that's kind of where we got these next ones for, and giving you the chance to do that. Because I think, especially with this being a podcast for new firefighters, I know when we asked you to come on, we talked about this. Like, what better way to show and explain that, hey, we all fuck up. It's just how you learn from it that makes decisions. So, the first one we got is what mindset do you think helps the most to build on those failures and to, learn from them?
You got to own it. The first thing you have to do is when you make a mistake, admit you made a mistake. Don't ever be like, well, he made me, do this because, he was messing with the pump and I thought, you got to own it. Yo, guys, I fucked up. I, it's my fault. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. If you own it right away, even if guys are mad at you, like, all right, man, like, we'll figure it out, and they're probably pissed. They're going to walk away. But if you sit there and keep making these excuses, these guys are just like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the truth. They're like disgusted with you because you won't admit that you messed up. And then you can't start retraining that person in their mistake if they don't think they made a mistake to begin with. Mm-hmm. So the number one thing is you have to own that mistake. Take it like, an adult and say, I'm sorry. I messed up. I won't do it again. And fix the problem. And like I went into all that, and obviously from you guys heard my my deal, like I made more than one mistake, right? But I tried never to make the same mistake twice. So and I'm still learning, and you're never going to get away from making mistakes, so you have to keep owning them, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we kind of have the same thing for the next one is just, I guess, more piece of advice and word is, why should especially new firefighters not be afraid to fail?
Because you're going to. Don't be afraid of you're going to fail. You don't know shit. And I was that guy, man. I came in, I'm like, I got 8 years as a federal fireman. I kind of know what I'm doing. I had 0 dwelling fires in those 8 years. 0. All the training in the world, I worked out like a friggin' crazy person, I was super strong. And my first job in that slow ass ladder, we were first in, it went for 5 alarms. I was never so tired in my life 8 minutes into the job, maybe 6 minutes into the job. I was thinking it wasn't for me. I'm like, maybe everyone else is working circles around me. All these old guys with bellies, and you're like, how the fuck is this dude outworking me, man? And it's just because I was doing everything wrong and I didn't know it. I'm taking these, I got my hook, fucking squeezing it. I'm just going crazy as hard as I could, as crazy as I could. My adrenaline was through the roof. So because I was so amped up and nervous, once my adrenaline dumped, I was, it was like 3 degrees out that day. It was so cold. You're covered in ice. And then you were there. I mean, we were literally there for 8-9 hours.
Yeah.
So you got to understand that, like anything, you can tell these young guys anything. And I was the same way. You're not going to realize that till you're older. Like, you're going to make mistakes. Like, you're supposed to suck when you're new at something. If that was the case, if you weren't going to, if you could just come in and be the best, why have a fire academy? Why have a step process? Why have a ranking structure? Why would a senior man get any respect, right? If everyone was just going to come in and be the shit, none of that would exist.
Yeah. So
yeah, know that you're going to make mistakes. Know that you're going to suck, and try. Just, the thing I got to stress is the worst thing you could do though is make a mistake that gets someone else hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, keep your head on your shoulders. Don't get no one hurt like goofing off. Yeah. Like you're running like a 950 and you're like, oh, look at me. And, you end up hitting somebody in the face with that, I've seen guys get hurt, not doing that, but like goofing off. And, next thing you know, they get like whacked in the face with like, something. You're like, oh man, like, that was almost a career ender.
Like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And how you can explain that to the chief that, he took a paintball to the face at the firehouse. That actually happened.
Oh yeah, I know. I took one of our other good buddies who started right around the same time. We were playing capture the flag one night, and I got a brand new Nerf gun with the little rubber balls. Mm-hmm. We wrapped up and crossed the bay. I was like, wonder if I can hit him. Wound up, he turned, it smoked him in the eye, dropped like a bag of bricks, and
right.
That was exactly as our captain. He was totally fine, but the captain was like, how hard that would have been to explain to.
Dude, so I'm brand new. I literally have 6 months out of the fire academy, and I find this mortar shell, which at the time I didn't know what a mortar shell was. I never got there. Fireworks are illegal in Philadelphia, so rarely did as a kid did you come across those. That thing was this big. It was as big as this water bottle. The fuse was like this long. I should have known better. So there's this older guy. He was a chief's aide, and he was like notorious, like prankster, kind of a dick. I was like, hey man, it says it just shoots sparks. I was going to put it under this guy's chair at the watch desk, no less. Now keep in mind, there's a battalion chief in this office, a captain and a lieutenant. So, and then, all the rest of the firefighters. And he's like, yeah, it just shoots sparks. Here it's a 3-banger mortar shell. I put it under this guy's chair and light it off. That first explosion, which I thought was it sounded like a grenade went off in the firehouse. That was just a propellant. It sends it flying up. It's falling around on the computers. Luckily, falls off the desk. That boom, boom, boom. The guy literally was on fire. His job shirt was on fire. And it was so, and I'm thinking like he can't hear now because I blew his eardrums out. This was in a very small, confined area. And I am brand new on probation. Like I'm in shock. I'm like, I'm fired. I'm literally getting fired today. And luckily the guy was cool about it. I had to buy him a new job shirt, which was like at the time, like, I don't know, freaking $65, $70.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, that was
shit.
Yeah. So don't do that.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Must be loud as fuck inside of the station.
Well, so we opened the apparatus store and it looked like a job. Like the amount of smoke we had to get the smoke. Like we don't use smoke ejectors here, but we have them. Like you rarely see them brought out. Guess what I had to pull out?
Yeah.
It was, so yeah, even as an older guy on a job, man, be careful.
Yeah.
You know, playing certain jokes. You know, I was so scared. I thought I was fired. I absolutely thought I was going to get fired.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I wish we could, have you go through everything, but we were talking about it, and it was when we brought back. We want you to at least get the circular saw story. At least get a chance to share a good mistake that'll, it's a little comical looking back on it. It was great when it stuck, but just talking about mistakes. So
again, brand new, same firehouse. I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to be the good rookie. And a good friend of mine, he's a captain. Now, at the time, he was a firefighter. He was at a very busy ladder. He was actually at ladder 13 in Southwest Philly. He would get detailed in to ride the ambulance. And the station I was at, the older firemen, it was slow. They were just done. They would show you some shit, but they wouldn't show you everything. So he's showing me how to take a saw apart, clean the 950, all that stuff. And I'm like, all right, great, and then he gets a run. So it's completely apart. And he's like, wait till I get back. We'll put it together. We'll put it back together. I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, man, I got this. You know what I mean? I'm going to show him. I know what I'm doing, this and that. And I put the saw back together, go out. And I made sure, because there was all these windows there where everyone could see. I'm like, oh, yeah, show everyone, I'm such a good rookie. You know what I mean? Like I'm out here doing the saw. So I start the saw up and I'm revving it. And the apparatus doors are open. Now, across the street is the Arch Street meeting house, Friends Meeting House, something like that. The building is like a national landmark. And it's like William Penn gave it to like the Arch Street Friends in I had the dates. It was like early 1800s. Beautiful building. So I'm revving the saw up and the blade shoots off, takes a big chunk out of we had old cobblestone at the time in this thing, takes a chunk out of that, shoots out the door doing like 100 miles an hour, cross Arch Street, hits the wall of the Arch Street meeting and takes a big chunk out of that wall too. And I'm standing there and my first reaction, I ran into the station and kind of hid behind the ladder because I didn't know what to do. And then, because I was making so much noise and made such a spectacle for everyone to watch me, they all saw it. They came out what the hell are you doing, dude? And I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. I thought it was tight. It wasn't tight. And luckily, no one was hurt. I was able to retrieve the blade and got taught properly how to crank it down. But again, go back to that mistake, one of the worst things I could have done was blamed, his name's Jeff, blame Jeff. He was supposed to show me how to put that together. No, it's my fault. He told me to wait. I didn't wait. Yeah. I put it back together. I didn't tighten the plate down tight enough. And that's it.
So did that piece of the cobblestone from the front or a piece of the wall that disappear? Is that
Oh yeah, I did. I wasn't knocking at the door. They had no idea what happened.
I was wondering if somebody took that and is holding that for your retirement. You're gonna get it
No. If it wasn't a big chunk, but it was enough, and I wasn't gonna go knock on the door of this national treasure and be like, oh, I'm only talking about it now because it was 18 years ago.
Yeah.
If that was the case, if this was last week, I wouldn't be saying shit.
No, it's awesome. Like I said, I encourage anybody when you're speaking and you're giving that. It was such a genuinely refreshing show, especially with us being new. Everybody talks about when they're going in or they're still strutting their stuff. They're giving the presentation and how good they are and what they are. Which, like I said, rightfully so. If you're giving it, that's what you're expecting.
Yeah.
They'll say, "Oh, I've made plenty of mistakes in my career," but you also you look at them on this high pedestal because they're showing you all these things. You're like, fuck it, it's probably little things. Your presentation going over those mistakes, what you learn from them, it was very, very humbling, very refreshing to see. That it was like, damn.
I'm glad to hear you say that because, while I was there, they had me go dead last day 2. So I'm like, what? What the hell, dude? I never. And this was the first time I ever did a presentation. That's the first time I ever made a PowerPoint. Like, I don't know how to make a PowerPoint. It took me a week to make that thing. And I'm like, dude, I'm last. Like, what the hell, dude? So I wasn't even going to drink that day. I'm in the back now, nervous as hell. I friggin' shotgun like 6 beers before I went on. I was really nervous. But the first day and a half, I was a student. I was listening to other people talk. And, what you're saying, like when guys were up there, there was a handful of guys that were just like, oh, I'm here. And like, it was videos of fires they went to. I left. I was like, I'm not listening to this anymore. That's when I got up and like got a drink or went to the bathroom. I stopped paying attention. And that's when I would look around and you would see people on their phones. And it's like, dude, everyone knows what a fire looks like. Why are you showing clips of just jobs that you went to over the course of 20 years, like with like music in the background? Everyone's like, fuck this. Like, what are you showing them? You're just like, I'm a badass. I go to fires. Thanks. See you later. Like, in my opinion, that was like the gist of that conversation. There's really nothing to take from that. And then other guys had some great stuff, And of course, I go dead last. 2 people before me get standing ovations. So I'm like even more nervous. Like, what the hell, dude? Like, how do I follow these friggin' standing ovations? Like, oh my God. So I'm glad it went over pretty good.
Yeah, it was a great job, especially for a first time PowerPoint. It flowed smooth. It was great. We cool. Took a lot from it. It was really good.
Awesome. Thank you.
I nudged Brendan while we were there. I said we gotta get him on. We gotta get him on the podcast. Cool. So that was great. We were able to work it out. So all right. Well, you go ahead. Yeah.
No, I did. So Mark Misk, or Miskett, excuse me. He was one of the speakers that day. He liked it, and he asked me to come back and do it at Wichita Hot that year. So I went back to Wichita Hot in October and did it, and then I helped them out. So they're bringing us back this year now for our RIC class.
Awesome.
But it worked out. Yeah, a lot of people liked it, so I was happy to do it, and I'm glad. And same thing in that class there, young guys came up to me like, dude, I felt like you were speaking like directly to me, because I'm young and I'm scared to make mistakes, and I made some mistakes and this and that. Like this was really helpful, and I was like, oh, dude, that's great. Like, I'm not going to go up there and boast about anything, again, because no one's going to pay attention. So I was just, what can I talk about that might actually, I might look like a jackass, but, it might help some people,
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
Very good.
Well, so that concludes the questions that we have, the kind of main. Now we got our closing questions. So our what we like to do on here is basically we have each guest ask the next one a question. So, we said this is for new firefighters, so we tend to try and see if you can tier it that way, but that's the hardest one. So the next question is going to be on you, the one after what we're about to ask, and that's the hardest historically, is people coming up with their own. But
I gotta ask a question.
You gotta ask a question. Yep, and it's going to be for Taylor of Taylor's Tins. He's going to be our next guest.
Oh.
Yep.
I actually met Taylor at recently. He was like, hey man, you work for Philly Tin Helmet? Like, can you get me in touch with the owner? I want to make a tin helmet, a frontis. Actually, that's for Taylor.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always point the wrong side. That's what that's from. With Brennan's behind, they've been one of our sponsors. They've been awesome. So really excited to have him on. But he'll be our next guest. So then our last guest was the guys from Victim Drag Strap. So the Kansas City guys. So they were there. They were there at Wichita Into the Job. They're showing off the Victim Drag Strap. So their question that they had for you was basically, if you were in my shoes, give me a handful of things that you'd wish that you'd have known to make me better.
I wish I would have known that I was really going to struggle with my first job. Like, really going to struggle. Just because it's different, you can be physically prepared as much as you want and all that, but till you really learn how to calm down and work properly. It took me a little while, to get past like that nervous energy, you know what I mean? Like just being completely exhausted after jobs because I was doing everything wrong. And, letting you know that it's okay to make mistakes. No one ever told me that. And I felt like complete shit after each thing, It wasn't until after I made the mistakes and then people saw me moping like a week later, because I'm thinking like they're looking at me like a failure, like a total failure, as opposed to just a new guy being a new guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how honestly, that's how they look at me. They look at me like I was a jackass. They were just like, bro, you're new. Like, relax. And I'm thinking I'm just like, dude, these guys, it's all I ever wanted to do. And I'm fucking up at it. I'm blowing it. So don't look at it like that. I really wish somebody would have told me, it's going to be okay to make mistakes.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's the perfect answer for it. That's what we like, is you get everybody kind of passing it on and going in and having the opportunity to ask questions. So yeah, the next question is yours. So it's going to be for Taylor. You can, titrate it or take it as either when you were newer for new firefighters, or just even if it's a question that you still have now that's either yet to be answered that you'd like to ask of him.
Yeah, I got one for Taylor. I know he was a fireman and he left to start his company.
Mm-hmm.
How hard of a decision was that for him to leave the fire service to, basically put, I imagine he put a lot on the line to, very ballsy move, to start this company and leave a job that he loved. How hard was that for him? Because I have a lot of respect for guys that are able to do that type of stuff. Because I would be petrified to leave the Philadelphia Fire Department and pursue something else.
Yeah, especially just to.
I honestly don't know what I would else do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think
This is what I was born to do. I don't have no other idea of what I would do. So
that's a really, really gutsy move, and
it's paying off. He's doing great stuff, and
absolutely.
I love he's he continues to just give back. I mean, they did the 10 of the month for us for our cadet program. We're taking them to New York, and so made donation from there, doing the 10 a month, helping us out, I mean, they help out countless guys. He's now just a common name in the fire service, so he did a damn good job, and that'd be good. I'll be interesting to hear that too. So
cool.
Awesome. Well, that concludes all of our questions. The last part that we have is what we just call kind of our kitchen table, which is just, as goes around the kitchen table is just a bunch of bullshit. So it's all just fluff. So anything that either, you want to toss out, you want to talk about that we missed, or, even shout outs for your training company, whatever. You guys got some trainings coming up, some trainings you're going to be at, some opportunities for people to do.
If Philly tin helmet training, we started about a year ago. We were out in the training world for a little while, and we're just kind of like, let's just do our own thing. People were asking for us to come back. They liked the way we presented some stuff. They liked, what we had to offer. We're like, wow, we'll just do our own thing, make it a little easier, a little cleaner. We'll be in Little Rock for the First In conference in September. That's Ryan McCormick saying that's a really good conference. You got a lot of speakers there. We're doing the hands-on. We're doing event under search class, and we'll be there with Fastboard, another Philadelphia-based company. And then Wichita Hot, which they really don't need no help selling tickets, man. I think I think people need help getting tickets rather than them selling them. That thing sells out quick, man, and for good reason. I was blown away with those dudes are friggin' shit hot, cool as hell, and damn good firemen. So, but that's what we got coming up there. If you make it to that, you want to check our class out. We're doing our down and dirty RIT class there. So it'll be 2 days. Be ready for that. But we're doing a thing in Jeanette, PA in September. 80 students, I think we're doing. It's sort of like a conference. You got 10 instructors coming with us. That's going to be, live burns, everything like that. Yeah, we're going to do everything from command to RIT to ladder ops to engine ops. So it'll be a lot going on.
Oh, wow.
So awesome.
You can check us out on Instagram, Philly_tin_helmet_training, or Facebook. We do a workout of the day. It's only on Instagram. So for guys that want to get in shape and stuff, it's a guy who used to be at Squad 72 with us. He retired and he went, can't really say where he went, but it's an elite kind of agency. He's there now, but he loves the fire service. He's ridiculous in shape, and he gives us workouts every day that we post on our story.
Nice.
So, and it's firefighter based workouts kind of thing. So that's all free if anyone wants to check any of that out,
Yeah, I'm definitely into that.
And his company's called First Responder Athletes.
Nice.
But that's what makes that. Yeah, give it a look. See if you like. We I try to post some content, jobs, vehicle extrications, anything we come up, real life situations after a job, the obstacles and the amount of crap in there where, things people preach this is what you have to do on every job. Oh, that's not going to work here.
Yeah.
There's nothing for every job. Will it work? Absolutely. But there's times where it won't. So don't sit there and say there's only one way. There's not.
There's never
So-
the way. There's only a way.
Exactly, man. And
Yep.
depending on your areas, depending on, you know, what kind of environment you're working in, you know, you just keep an open mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
Well, yeah, I mean that's all we got for you. And thank you so much for coming on. It was
Thank
great
you guys.
just there. So, yeah.
I
Brendan,
appreciate
got
it.
anything to throw in?
No, just thank you for coming on. Thanks for everything. That was really awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, anytime, you know, you can hit me up for anything. You know, I always tell you when any questions anyone ever has, if you hit us up on Instagram, we'll always get back to you.
Yeah.
You know, I promise. Like, you know, if the easiest way to get through is just like, you know, the DMs on Instagram. We will always get back to you. So
Awesome.
but all right,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you for coming on. Thank everybody for watching. You know,
Yes,
episode
sir.
17, 1 year strong. We're keep getting
Congrats,
going, getting more
guys.
people.
Congratulations.
So,
Keep it going.
everybody, see you. Take you later. Don't be a shitbag.